Noir Plasma Chrome Bleed. Unlocking knowledge, inspiring innovation, empowering curious minds.
This website makes learning so easy. I found all my resources here.
Like what you share.
Discover the harmony of combined farming, where crops and flowing waters thrive together. From sustainable fields to precious silk, this is the future of ecology.
This blueprint outlines a path to high-profit cereal farming. It achieves over 1.6 crore rupees in annual profit.
All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're not just looking at your traditional, quaint farming guide. Actually, scratch that, we're going to completely deconstruct what is essentially a highly sophisticated, multi-million rupee open-air factory startup. We're breaking down a commercial agroeconomic model for a 100-hectare cereal enterprise, analyzing exactly how modern agriculture operates like a precision production line. So here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the 100-hectare farm blueprint, crop allocation and revenue projections, operating costs and capital efficiency, sustainable multi-year crop rotation, risk management and financial viability, and wrap it up with a 4-phase implementation strategy. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The 100-hectare farm blueprint. Location and layout are absolutely everything here.
This operation is based right in the heart of the incredibly fertile Indo-Gangetic plains. Think Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh. Now, the absolute game changer here is the climate. It runs on 3 distinct seasonal cycles. You've got Karith in the monsoon, Rabi in the winter, and Zaid, which is this fantastic spring-summer window. Understanding these 3 cycles, that is the foundational key to unlocking a double or even a triple cropping system, making sure literally zero land is left idle.
To run this efficiently, they divide the 100 hectares into 2 distinct, optimized factory floors. Let's call them Block A and Block B. Block A is 60 hectares of heavy, water-retentive clay loam, perfect for high-yielding monsoon paddy. Meanwhile, Block B is 40 hectares running low-water commercial hybrid maize. Why maize? Because it's a phenomenal break crop. Running these 2 side by side actually slashes total farm water usage by a massive 60% compared to a traditional all-paddy setup, all while perfectly balancing the machinery logistics.
Moving on to Section 2, crop allocation and revenue projections. Basically, how these crop choices actually translate into hard cash.
Okay, let's look at the numbers because the scale here is wild. Across the 100 hectares, we are talking about projecting 270 metric tons of rice, 200 tons of maize, 450 tons of winter wheat, and 50 tons of summer moong. But the real magic is the pricing mechanic. The revenue is totally underpinned by the statutory minimum support price, or MSP. The government sets this institutional price floor as a safety net, guaranteeing at least a 50% return over baseline costs. When you combine those massive yields with these MSP benchmarks, you're looking at a projected annual gross revenue of over 2.72 crore rupees.
250%. Seriously, just think about that for a second. The farm is only 100 physical hectares, right? But by squeezing in that Zaid summer moon crop during the tiny window between the April harvest and June sowing, they are literally hacking the calendar. It's like making the land work overtime without paying time and a half. This bumps total annual land utilization up to 250 crop hectares, a staggering 250% cropping intensity. Now, what about that maize in Block B? Well, we have to look at the macroeconomic picture. India's national policy on biofuels has this ambitious target of a 20% ethanol blend in motor fuel.
Because of this, the government has routed 72% of ethanol supply contracts straight to grain-based distilleries. And these distilleries, they are aggressively buying up commercial hybrid maize to hit their processing quotas, often matching or even beating the MSP. So this policy framework basically creates incredibly lucrative, super stable alternative markets for the farm's offtake contracts.
Which brings us to Section 3, operating costs and capital efficiency. Making money is great, but let's take a look at the actual burn rate.
Keeping this massive 250 crop hectare engine running about 1.02 crore rupees a year. Where does that go? Well, mechanization, fuel and power is the biggest chunk at just over 29%. Hired seasonal labor is right behind at nearly 23%, and then fertilizers and soil nutrition take up about 20%. It's pretty clear that heavy machinery and labor are the absolute biggest cash drains to keep this whole shebang moving.
But here's the thing, smart farming startups don't just eat all those capital costs themselves. They tap into government support. Through the SAM scheme, this farm can score massive 50 to 80% capital subsidies for heavy gear like combine harvesters and zero-till drills. And for irrigation overhead, the PM Kusum scheme kicks in up to 60% subsidies for solarizing off-grid water pumps. That slashes energy bills right off the bat. Plus, when all that machinery is just sitting there, they can custom hire it out to neighboring farms for some nice secondary revenue.
All right, Section 4, Sustainable Multi-Year Crop Rotation. This right here is the operation's ecological secret sauce.
You know, running a continuous paddy wheat monoculture is a fast track to exhausted soil and superweeds. To avoid that, over a 3-year cycle, Block A and Block B completely swap their monsoon crops. By alternating hybrid maize and rice, they disrupt those flooded anaerobic conditions rice needs. This agronomic break does wonders. It improves the subsoil structure and naturally chokes out herbicide-resistant aquatic weeds without needing to dump a ton of chemicals everywhere.
And remember that summer moon crop that gave us that wild 250% cropping intensity? It's not just a quick cash grab. Moong is a leguminous pulse crop. It is literally a biological hack that fixes 30 to 50 kilograms of atmospheric nitrogen straight into the root zone. By naturally feeding the soil like this, it actually drops the need for chemical fertilizers like DAP and urea by 15 to 20% for the very next season.
They're also going all in on conservation tillage. So instead of burning off the old paddy fields, which, as we all know, destroys the soil and creates massive pollution, they use happy seeders and zero-till drills to plant winter wheat right into the standing residue. No open field stubble burning at all. It locks in soil moisture, protects all those good microbes, and saves up to 3,500 rupees per hectare just in fuel costs. It's a perfect example of how good ecology is basically a prerequisite for a good bottom line.
Let's pivot to Section 5. Risk management and financial viability. This is where we look at the startup's safety net and calculate the total ROI. Obviously, farming is totally at the mercy of climate volatility. That's why the farm leans heavily on the government's PMFBY crop insurance program, and the coverage is seriously comprehensive. It covers the pre-sowing window in case weather ruins planting, it covers the standing crop from drought or hail, and it even protects the post-harvest cut crop if unseasonal rains hit. The best part, the premiums are massively subsidized, like just 2% of the sum insured for Kharif and 1.5% for Rabi. It's an incredibly low-cost risk shield against total localized calamity. Okay, let's look at the final arithmetic. We take our consolidated gross annual revenue, that juicy 2.72 crore from the rice, maize, wheat, and mung, and we subtract our total direct operating expenses. That's all out-of-pocket costs, plus the value of unpaid family labor, which, as we saw earlier, lands around 1.02 crore. The result? A staggering net annual operating profit of about 1.69 crore rupees, or just over $204,000. But honestly, the stat that blows my mind is the benefit-cost ratio of 2.656. This absolutely proves the model's commercial viability. For every single rupee they invest in direct operating costs, this enterprise spits back over 2.5 rupees in gross revenue. That's an operating profit margin well over 60%. Just incredible.
Finally, Section 6, the 4-phase implementation strategy. How does this actually happen in the real world? The entire execution comes down to 4 clear steps. Phase 1 is land prep, getting those grid soil tests done and precision laser leveling the ground for perfect water distribution. Phase 2, going aggressive on enrolling for all those equipment and solar subsidies.
Phase 3 is all about locking in the crop rotations and securing those lucrative offtake contracts. And Phase 4 is the final logistical push, harvesting, drying, and delivering everything straight to the buyers.
When you stack precision crop rotation, highly subsidized capital infrastructure, biological soil hacks, and dual market agreements together, you're not just running a farm anymore. You've built a highly resilient commercial enterprise. It really leaves us with one massive question to think about. With this level of smart rotation and government synergy guaranteeing a 2.6 benefit-cost ratio, is this blueprint the definitive future of global commercial farming? It certainly gives us a totally fresh perspective on how complex and high-yield modern agriculture can really be. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this got your gears turning, and I will catch you in the next one.
Like what you share.
This website makes learning so easy. I found all my resources here.